Welcome to CMO Confidential, the podcast that takes you inside the drama, decisions, and choices that go with being the head of marketing. Hosted by five-time CMO Mike Linton.
Welcome, marketers, advertisers, and those who love them to Chief Marketing Officer Confidential. CMO Confidential is a program that takes you inside the drama, the decisions, and the politics that go with being the head of marketing at any company in what is one of the most scrutinized jobs in the executive suite. I'm Mike Linton, the former Chief Marketing Officer of Best Buy, eBay, Farmers Insurance, and Ancestry.com, here today with my guest, Mr. Bill Cobb. Today's topic, a marketing-trained CEO talks about business and the CMO position. Now, Bill started his career at Pepsi and Pizza Hut and went on to be the president of eBay North America and the CEO of H&R Block. Currently, he is the CEO of Frontdoor, a company dedicated to easing the hassle of homeownership, which we know is a pain in the butt. He has also served on numerous boards. And full disclosure, I worked for Bill during my tenure at eBay and found him practical, strategic, and hilarious. So this should be both insightful and fun. Welcome, Bill. It's great to see you.
Mike Linton, celebrity podcaster. What an honor for me. You know, way back when I didn't see you becoming a celebrity like this, but I'm humble. I'm humble in your presence, as always.
That is so
doing, Mike? Thanks for having me, buddy.
It's great to see you, and thanks for coming on the show. So Bill, you have seen the CMO job forever, but let's start on the bigger picture. You've been in a ton of consumer companies. What's on the horizon for consumer focused companies as you look forward?
Yeah, you know, a lot of people want to talk about that, but in the end, it's the essence of marketing, the principles of marketing is still the same. I've seen you, heard you on your podcast. I mean, it's all about ideas. I mean, I know there's performance marketing and people get obsessed with it, and it's an important element. But what's on the horizon is, how do you differentiate in a more and more crowded marketplace with ideas? How do you break through your concept and talk to others? And I think the word that's the most important is to be thinking about disruption. That's really what I think makes for the right kind of marketing approach. So what's on the horizon is, how do you disrupt your particular industry? Just a quick note on Frontdoor. We now have an interface. We rolled out a new brand called Frontdoor. We've got this app. And the essence of the app is that people can video chat with an expert, because we're all about home repair and maintenance. And the experts we've hired, there are employees in electrical, plumbing, HVAC, appliances, handymen. And these are guys who have been doing the job for 20, 30 years, don't want to crawl under sinks and crawl spaces anymore, and are there to serve you. And it's unlike anything else. It's free. People can call in, and, my wife is calling today about our new washer has an error code that is persistent. So rather than get, the Maytag repairman here, let's call our expert. So to us, it's a disruption. We'll see if it is, but the point is, we're in the realm of, we're in the home warranty space, which is kind of a boring, dull, how do we differentiate, disrupt, and how do we unlock a new way to look at this?
Hey, Bill, so a lot of times you get CMOs in big companies and they want to disrupt, or they want to think about disruption, but it's super hard to get the company to actually do what I'll call true innovation. We actually did a show called Why is Marketing So Freaking Hard? So when you look at all the stuff where people are pushing you into performance marketing, or AI is the new big thing, and people are like, we got to invest in AI. How do you keep the big idea alive in that, what I'm going to call that push for massive efficiency, particularly at a bigger company?
Yeah, you better be locked in with the CEO. The CEO, has to help support the CMO, because you, Mike, you know this, you live this, you can get overrun by the finance guys, you can get overrun by the sales team, you can get overrun by operations. And what about? Yeah, but the legal team, the general counsel is going to, and so to me, it is incumbent upon the marketing person to not only enroll the CEO, make sure that they are in together with the CEO, but they have to face into. You can't just deal with the CEO. You're going to have to work horizontally. You're going to have to, the jerky sales guy, you're going to have to sit down with him and hear their objections, et cetera, and continually. I mean, I came from Colgate-Palmolive way back when, and P&G and the hub of the wheel stuff. It's still the hub of the wheel. Marketing is still the hub of the wheel, and that hasn't gone away. And so part of the art, I think, is to work through other functions to get your innovation gone forward. In this case, I had the opportunity, having been a CMO, I'm now the CEO. I can drive it through the organization a little bit more, almost by edict. But that's not a great way to do it, because you have to enroll the company and you're constantly selling.
So give us some tips, because you've watched all this. So a lot of times as a CMO, you're going to run up against the short-term pressure for profit, for sales, which are very real when you have investors, but you don't want to kill innovation. What are some tips you would give our users when they're faced with you got to put all the money in short-term tools, or we got to sell everything to make this quarter? How do you keep the innovation lifeline alive? And then we're going to talk about your career life after you get this done. So,
well, you have to be mindful. You can't just say I'm investing for the long term. I'm the marketer. I want to bring innovation. You need to know the sales report really well. You need to be on, or your weekly, your dailies, whatever. You spent some time in retail. I did too. Those daily numbers are vital to everything. And you're going to need to know that, and you're going to need to know what your marketing efforts are returning, driving in the sales function. So there's no getting around that. What you have to do, though, and I know it's hard, you have to keep that pocket of money on the side for testing. And you're going to have to make sure that as you go forward in that realm of, trying to innovate or whatever, and I know there's going to be, you're going to have some cranky CFO type who's going to say, I don't think we're getting any return for that. And you just have to work. And that's where you have to work hard with the CEO to say, we need to protect this money and do it in a way that shows that you really do have a short-term mentality. You do understand the sales report. You are focused on that, but you're also looking out over the horizon.
Yeah, I think the words I've used I've heard people used to describe it, and I back this as sales overnight, brand over time, but you have to do both. And then the second thing is I've always ring-fenced some innovation money in the budget process that it's untouchable. It's not
that's better said. Ring fence is a much better way to
untouched that. Because if that gets taken away from you, the brand over time is dead. Yeah. And because you will get passed and then you'll get fired, which brings me to my next question. Kind of, we've watched the CMO tenure for years, and it's still the shortest tenure job in the executive suite. Any thoughts on this? And then we'll talk about kind of what tips you have for people to make it less a short tenure. So,
well, the job, and here's what I would say, and you and I are probably examples of this. There's life after getting fired.
Thank God.
Yeah. So on the one hand, you're like a sports coach, it's okay. That happens, and sometimes you get the wrong circumstances. So don't lose confidence in yourself. But to try to prevent that, I think the important piece is to make sure, again, that alignment with the CEO and the members of management is arguably more important for the CMO than any others. And I think the CMOs who don't succeed are often the ones who are trying to run out on the outside lane almost by themselves. I think it's the most integrative function that there is. I think it's the one that ties everything together. I think it's the one that's closest to the strategy of the company. And if you don't have a CEO who knows marketing, is committed to marketing, that's a watch out. Now, it can work, but the CEO, one of the problems is, and we've seen this, where companies run through a CMO every couple of years. And there's like this belief that, let's CMOs are just a bag of tricks.
If we get the right one, all our problems will be fixed.
Right. Bring the new person in with the bag of tricks. Bring somebody in from the tech space. No, we need CPG. No, we don't need CPG. We need somebody from retail. And what happens is, if you step back, the bag of tricks is all the same. What is the essence of the brand? Who are you trying to target? What's the reason why for your product or service? And go back to the basics of that, and how does that tie into the corporate enterprise? And that's really what I think has to happen. Is I would become a very visible executive. You have to spend as much time laterally as you do with your team. So I think the CMOs who make a mistake spend too much time with their teams and not enough time with their counterparts, because like I said, I think it's all about the marketing. The CMO brings everything together, in my view. And that's also what the CEO is looking for. The CEO is there and they're pulled in a lot of different directions and they got other pulls on them. If you can be the integrator like that, I think that's going to help to your longevity.
So I have a million follow-up questions on this. Well, not a million, but a number. And I don't want to miss the point that I think both of us said earlier, which is if you can speak financial, it helps you a lot with your peers and the company. But two, the ability to get the CEO on your side and see it early, that's important. But we've all seen CEOs that don't really believe in marketing and boards that don't believe in marketing. How do I suss that out in the recruiting or interviewing process? And then should I not take that job if I think they're putting me in as a major league manager with a team that is going to lose in the bag of tricks?
I mean, there's a lot there. Let me try to unpack it in the way I see it. First of all, if you're a good CMO, you better be financially adept. And you want to almost have that GM mindset, despite the fact you're the CMO. Be very facile in pricing. Pricing might even report to you. Understand mix. Understand seasonality. Understand those elements that the sales and finance teams are constantly working against. So you are adept at thinking through from their eyes what's going. So be adept financially. I think to your point about how do you tease that out, I would say that anytime you're going for a CMO job, make sure you do speak to the chairman or lead director and maybe another director. Make sure you understand. I can talk about boards in a second if you want, but make sure you understand the board's role, and do they just see you as the advertising person? And that's one of the fears. But I think what you have to tease out is, and I think, if you're a real CMO, you're going to know whether the CEO and these board members, don't expect the board member to know a lot, but just make sure, are they attuned to what you say? Are they interested? Or are they checking a box? Like, yeah, they're fine. And that's what's so important. Do you take the job? It's tempting, right? You're going to get paid more money potentially. Right. And it's hard to fix those situations. That was my experience.
Yeah, but we used to call them 2-year jobs, which is you're going to go in, you're going to do your bag of tricks. People aren't going to care. They're not going to actually let you do the innovation or fix the pricing or the product problem that is driving the business down the drain. And then they're going to go get a new bag of tricks person. And you still may want to take that job, but you should go in eyes open. And also, I think the other thing I hear you saying, correct me if I have this wrong, is you want the board to believe in the concept of the marketplace and the customer or the consumer, however you want to call it. And if they don't, that is a pretty big red flag. If they just think you're the layer between the real business and the marketplace, that layer job is super dangerous.
And here's another thing that I would say, because I was faced with this situation once at Block where we had our bad year, if you will. And inevitably, a CMO is going to come up against the bad year.
Yeah.
Face into it. And I got I think we ought to fire no, I'm not firing the CMO, because you know what? We have a really good understanding of what went wrong this year. And I don't want to have to bring somebody in. We're already on to the new year. We're already on to and I would face into and be quite humble yet direct. Here's what we attempted to do. Here's what happened. Here's why it didn't work. Here's what we're doing to fix it. And just beyond the offense, rather than be on the defensive of,
I agree.
Going back, you have to say, face into what went wrong and face into and have a real plan for what's going to go right.
Right. Well, look, even the New England Patriots don't don't win every year. And I think, but is this, I want to move on to the CEOs and boards and the biggest mistakes they make with CMOs. And I think you've just announced one, which is if you have one bad season, it's totally, we got to flip out the major league manager.
Right.
What are other mistakes you would tell boards and CEOs not to make here when they're managing their marketing department?
Well, let me start from the CMO perspective, and you'll need the help of the CEO. Don't show creative to the board.
Right.
Do not show creative to the board. Tell them what you're trying to attempt. Tell them you'll send them the film, right before we launch. Do not show creative to the board. So I'll tell you a quick little story. So when we were at Block, we had the little bow tie guy, get your billions back, America, and then anyway, I can even talk about that why we went away from that campaign. But we decided to settle on a refresh campaign, new line, and it's featuring John Hamm. So John Hamm, the actor. So the CMO stands up in front of the board and does the pitch and says, and it's going to feature, and she does the great reveal, and it's John Hamm. And all of a sudden, one of the board members, one of the old guys says, "No, he's a bad guy." And I said, "What are you talking about? That's Don Draper. He's a bad guy." I said, "No, Jim. That's the part he played. I actually went and met with him to make. He's Don Draper." Okay.
Now everyone is in a creative meeting at the whole board because you've let them vote. So
we let them see that. Well, I didn't let them vote. We quickly moved on to the next topic.
I'm thinking of so many actors you could have put up there just for kicks, like Steve Buscemi or someone.
But when you have a board member telling you that you can't use them because of a role they play, that's a bit of a problem.
That is priceless. Okay, so that's the CMO side. Don't let
so let's talk about the board.
Yeah, don't let people vote. Don't let people vote on your marketing.
Yeah, this is where the CEO has to play the central role. Okay, for example, don't let your board deal with the agency. The agencies and boards. There's no reason for them to. Boards are there to understand and support the strategy, approve the budget. They will hire and fire the CEO, assess the talent, govern the company appropriately for the shareholders. They are not there to meet with the digital agency on paid search tactics. So that's incumbent upon the CEO to keep your board out of there. Inform them, make sure the marketing mix is part of the conversation. But that's where the CEO is important. From a board perspective, I think what you want to do is say, is the strategy thinking sound? Is it logical? Are the projections seem to be in line? Are they fact based? You may not understand all of it as a board, because boards, are in a way they're knowledgeable about the company, but they're not deep in the company.
And they're removed from a lot of the day-to-day.
I found that, when I took over Frontdoor, I was chairman of the company. And then all of a sudden I'm the CEO, and you get a totally different, and you think the company pretty well as chair, and you're not even close given what a CEO goes through. So it's really important that the CEO, you as a CMO and the CEO are in sync. And that CEO has to be the one who, and the CEO should meet with the agency. The CEO should know the head creative person, should know how the brand is going to be represented, et cetera. So that's I think important for the CMOs to bring their CEO in, so that they make them part of the process. To the point about longevity, make them part of the process. But as far as the board goes, make sure the CEO is conversing with the board in a way that says, we'll keep you informed, send the creative to them when it's done, when it's about to air, things like
that. I think that's important. So now that we're on boards, give CMOs tips on how to secure a board seat, because there's actually not that many marketers on board. So give us some tips on how to get a good board seat.
Yeah, it's a frustration, I think you and I share. I think one of the things with boards today is the skills matrix has almost overwhelmed the board. The skills matrix is sitting there in the proxy statement, and it's got a variety of factors.
And there's so many skills for our listeners. Like, lay out the skills matrix so they know what you're talking about.
Right,
so.
And you're trying to say, do you have technology expertise, financial expertise, cybersecurity expertise? Do you have governance expertise? Do you have HR? It's across all of the functions. And what happens is the nominating and governance committees are trying to fill out the box and make it look very balanced. And there's not one for marketing.
Right.
There's never one for marketing. There's a strategy box, which is really the best way in. So one of the little tricks is, if you're a CMO, see if you can become chief marketing and strategy officer. So you hit the tab for the recruiting firms that you're a strategy person. Strategy is usually in there. Marketing does. It drives me nuts. We have I'm a marketing person. We have a marketing person on the board. We actually actively search for marketing because I think it is one of the better ways. The way I put it when I talk about this with other board members is, you want the voice of the customer sitting at the board table.
Right.
Yeah. You have the financial, have the audit committee, you have the compensation committee, you have nominating guy, but you want somebody there who comes to the meeting not worried about all this governance stuff, but is focused on, hey, I'm representing yes, I'm representing the shareholder, but I'm coming at this from the lens of our customers or heavy users, et cetera.
And you can peck at the strategy in a good way that stress tests it before it hits the market, versus just looking at the financials. I think this is that skills matrix, I think, is a super important point. And you watch, also you can put in extra skills if you think of them,
right?
But rarely do you. I agree with you. Do you see the consumer marketplace, kind of marketing skill set in the box?
Which is amazing for so many companies with a line of sight to the consumer. The other one, with all due respect to my old friends in Silicon Valley, is boards will say, I need a Google person.
Exactly.
I need a Meta person. And they don't even know what that means, but it's, now it's going to be, I need an AI person, which is going to be the new cause celeb with. Now, I think AI is interesting. We could probably spend an hour on that one, but too often boards just fly out what they just read in the Wall Street Journal or something. And that's not a way to put together a cohesive board with chemistry.
Thank you for sharing that. We're getting towards the end of the show, but I'd love to have you back, if you will, talk about more stuff. Because I want to ask two last questions here. I know you just launched a new ad, and I think it features it's the essence of your business, and I think it features a toilet. And I would love for you to tell our listeners about this ad, and if possible, sing the little song.
Of course. Well, I have to sing.
Okay, very good.
No, I referenced it earlier. We have this video chat feature where we have a Frontdoor. It's an app. Download it today. And in that, you can video chat with an expert being in plumbing, electricity, HVAC, or whatever. So in this particular ad, what we did was we had the expert be the hero and someone who had a faulty toilet, and we set it to music. So the way it sets up is the lady is at looking down with her phone, and the flashlight's on, and the expert's telling her, yep, okay, and now we're done. And it's like she's so happy that the toilet is fixed. She breaks into song, and it's the old Jefferson Starship song, which was, we built this city, we built this city on rock and roll. We changed the line to, we fixed this toilet. We fixed this toilet on video. Fix this toilet.
Grace Slick is not worried about you ever dubbing over her. But it's
a fabulous performance. You all should pull it up on YouTube or something.
I think this is going to, when we release a little marketing snippet for this show, I think you singing "We Fix This Toilet" is probably going to do it. Last question before we sign off, and any practical advice for our listeners that we haven't discussed yet that you want to leave them with?
Yeah. One of the things that, and again, this probably is woven through our discussion, Mike, but make sure you're the energizer. Be the happy one on the executive. Be the one who smiles. Be the one who, I'm not saying to not be a serious minded, all of that, but be the person who's the catalyst for, the lawyer is worrying about risk and the finance person is worrying about this and the salesperson doesn't even want to be in the meeting because they want to be out, et cetera. The ops person doesn't want to be in the meeting. Be the one who is the one who met, be the happy one. Be the one who, it's kind of a goofy thing to say, but be the one who people look to, like, they're a really important part of the fabric of this company. And that's part of to me, that's the art part of the CMO job in the executive suite.
I like it. Thank you for that. I think that's a great way to close.
All right.
Bill, thanks for being on the show. We'd love to have you.
And I will come back, Mike.
That is fantastic. And thanks, everyone, for listening to CMO Confidential. Look for more of our shows on Evergreen, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube, which include a report from the front lines of artificial intelligence. Why is marketing innovation so freaking hard? What I learned as New York City's first ever CMO under Michael Bloomberg, and a CMO turned B School professor offers her thoughts on how to fix the CMO position. Hey, all you marketers, be safe out there. This is Mike Linton signing off for CMO Confidential.
Today's episode of CMO Confidential is brought to you by CMOcoaches.com. Are you a current or aspiring chief marketing officer looking to take your career to the next level? You should work with a CMO coach. CMO coaches are former CMOs who are nationally certified coaches. So whether you want to improve your leadership skills, develop your team, or drive better business results, we have the experience and expertise to help you succeed. To learn more, visit us at CMOcoaches.com.
Great careers are forged out of great relationships. Your success, whatever your field, relies and thrives on the support and insights of others. I'm Andy Lapata, an author and speaker on the power of professional relationships. In the Connected Leadership podcast, I have the privilege of interviewing people from around the world to understand the relationships that have made a difference on their journey and how their insights can help you. From Nobel Prize winners to Olympians, from NASA astronauts to peace campaigners, my guests have shared some captivating moments from their lives and careers. Combined with experts from leading universities, cutting-edge authors and giants of business, the Connected Leadership podcast aims to inspire, educate and entertain.
Are you tired of the same old productivity hacks? Have you read the top 20 books on effectiveness, and yet your workdays and email inbox still causing anxiety, burnout, and even depression? Ready to learn the latest in brain-based modalities, techniques, and technologies to optimize your success and well-being? Welcome to the Focus to Evolve podcast, where we'll illuminate your path to spacious productivity and balanced thriving. Each week, we dive into deeply insightful and immediately impactful methods to help you become highly effective while promoting health, profitability, and well-being. Say goodbye to the trance of busyness and hello to your highest potential. It's time to discover a new way of accelerating your mission, growth, and purpose. Join us on the Focus to Evolve podcast and get ready to live your most joyful, productive, and fulfilling life.